Keith.
Kelly! Cha-cha! Miller!
That was a new nickname acquired today from you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A new nickname. I'm so happy to see you. We have lots of fun things happening tonight. First of all, I'm super stoked about the guests that we have on tonight because we're just new friends online, and I can't wait to hear all about their adventures and look forward to chatting more with them. And second, you have a surprise for everyone, I think, too.
Yes, I do. You want to show me your shirt? Let's see your shirt to start with.
My shirt is for my dear friend Brad Cooney, and it's one of Flip's designs from Dead Is Not the End. Shameless promotion. It says coffee first, then ghosts. So it's for both Brad and Flip tonight. So if you want this shirt like you want your next cup of coffee, you have to get one. But I had to pick it because I think today I'm running on coffee. Like I think if I could have had it IV today, I would have. I would have. Mm-hmm.
So
what about you?
We all have those. Wait, yeah, you're gonna see. Here it is, right here, folks. Our boy today, ladies and gentlemen, a big shout out to the man, Dan the Man Claus. His birthday today. Ladies and gentlemen, and have you not told him happy birthday? This guy has done a truckload of things in the paranormal. But I'll tell you this right here, my friends, I wear that shirt with pride because having him as a friend is like a mentor to me. How can you not love Dan? I tell you, what a guy to call and just give you a little something. But I'm so honored. Tonight, look at the guests already piling in. John Bullard, John McGinnis. John Bullard's book comes out today. Bob Brunell's in the house. Tracy's in the house. I'm glad you're tuning in because I've got some news. Tonight's the night that you're going to want to be listening from the beginning of the show right now because as soon as our guest is on, there's going to be some very cool little questions you're going to want to listen to to know the show. And that's how you're going to win this prize. And this prize, once you hear what it is, you're going to go, oh, why wasn't I listening? I told you it was coming. I kept telling you. And now tonight we deliver one of so many other prizes. So many.
But these are really good prizes. Like this is a really good prize for some impromptu show. Like you prefaced and was like, hey, this is coming up. But now to actually listen and pay attention, this is a really good prize. Like a really good prize.
It is. And what you get for it when you go there is styling, profiling, first class treatment, folks. It's a real deal.
Right. And if you're not one who usually uses the comment feature, you can either comment on our Facebook Live or on our YouTube Live right now. So use that comment feature to submit the answer to the question that Keith asks later. So you have to have your game face on because you have to be like the first one to reply. So you have to use your comment.
That's how we're gonna do it to make it fair. The ones who are like listeners tuning in, you get it, you jump on, you answer the question, and ding ding, you win the prize. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, waiting in the back wings of Talking Tech Paranormal, you all know them, we know them, we love them. Folks, these two have been the kids in this field for years. I've been blessed to get to know them, love them, get to be around them. I've got to be very close with them. I'm very close to one of their dear friends, which is Mr. Dustin Perry, and also one of them, their father, is very well known and respected and loved in this field. And they are doing some super cool and kind things in this field. Okay? And what they're doing is just getting it out there for all of us to get to share and love and learn. And then we take from that and then we go out and help others, which is what I hope we're supposed to be doing, right? About going and helping the others and embracing that knowledge and sharing it with others, because that's what these two are doing. So, folks, without further ado and waiting and holding it up, because I want them on the show, give it up for Cody Davidson and Satori Ho. Woo! Yes!
Wow, that's probably the best introduction we've ever got.
And you'll never get another one better. Everybody says it, but that's what we do on this show. You're part of it. You're now our family. John Bullard's been on this show before. He was where's the gloves? I feel like I need to be getting ready to get in the ring. John Bullard's been here before. He knows. So listen, we're more than excited. I've been telling you about it. You can feel the emotion of people. I've gotten calls, texts, tweets. Little birds have flown by. Tweet me. All kinds. When are they going to be on the show? When are you going to have them on the show? Are they going to? Yes, I'm going to get them on eventually. And it happened. Tonight is the night. Woo! So excited. So excited.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Thank you both for joining us. I mean, I'm excited to talk to you more about your projects and everything going on and learning more about you. So, just to kind of start off, can you share with us and our listeners and watchers a little bit about the two of you and your beginning venture?
Sure. Well, for myself, I mean, Satori grew up in this field. So myself, I got into it like a lot of investigators. I had an experience when I was about 8 years old in the house I grew up in Massachusetts. And everybody that lived in that house, it was my parents. I was an only child. And my grandparents lived on the first floor. And myself and my parents lived on the second floor. And we were hearing things, on a weekly basis. Footsteps on floors where nobody would be on. We'd run upstairs thinking somebody had broken in. Nobody was there. But the biggest experience that I had in that house was one night, woke up when I was about 8. I wasn't feeling well, went into my parents' bedroom. They invited me to spend the night in their bedroom. And I remember crawling in between both of them and trying to fall asleep, twisting and turning. About 15 minutes later, I opened my eyes to about 10 men circling the bed. They were going through the wall on the left side of the bed, circling the bed, going through the wall on the right side, and just kept kind of gliding around slowly in a circle. And I clearly remember seeing the television through one of their heads in front of me. Some were holding masks up to their face. Some just had black holes for eyes. And they were all mumbling the same sound that I couldn't understand what they were saying. And that's probably why I got interested in the technical side of investigating and recording EVP and things like that, because I wanted to know what was being said. I never experienced anything like that again in the home. But after, doing research, the house was built on an old coal mine. And, this was time before, they started documenting deaths and things like that. So who knows what happened on the land? Of course, New England is, like my friend Dustin likes to say, the creepy attic of the United States. There's so much history and just so much that it could have been. Whether it truly was a paranormal experience or just a normal explanation because I wasn't feeling that well, that's what blew the door open to me being interested in this stuff. And ever since then, that's what's brought me here. And Satori,
as Cody said, I grew up in it, so it's nothing that was unnatural for me. I grew up knowing my dad went to work every day and helped people. So I grew up with the mindset that whatever this is, because at such a young age, it was around before I was even born. So growing up in this field, I kind of looked at it as it's helping people. That's something important. So I knew growing up that I wanted to be like my dad and help people the way he did. So that's really what pushed me into it.
Aww. Oh, that's so awesome. And that's really the, focal point of our show is what we feel we can bring to other people and assist other people with. And whether it's that understanding portion or that learning portion or that, tech portion of kind of validation of what's happening, all those are so important, but it builds that knowledge base and it builds that understanding and it takes a little bit of that fear away. Even if the, initial experience is a little scary, it takes some of that fear away. So I think that's an amazing first start and appreciate you sharing that most certainly. And what are you doing now as far as your current projects that you're working on?
Sure. So, Satori and myself, we actually met through TAPS. I was on the team probably about 4 years before Satori was interested in joining the team as a member, and we instantly got paired up together, and instantly felt some sort of connection, and it just kind of grew over time. And we've noticed that whenever we're working together, I think personally, I mean, we're not really sure how this works, but I think when certain living energies come together are in the same room, sometimes it's like flipping on a light switch that draws in activity and stuff like that. So we've always hit it off on a investigating standpoint. But being a part of TAPS, and during the whole pandemic, we really started pushing ourselves on social media and stuff like that. We really, and it kind of blew up by accident, especially on TikTok. We started getting a lot of following and people interested in our collection. We've collected objects that have claims of paranormal activity and attachments and possessions for years now. And that's what people really started to grab onto. So, over the past year or so, we started really starting to push this forward in a more public standpoint where people could learn more about the stuff that we had. So we created the Paranormal Couples Haunted Museum of Objects, Oddities, and Curiosities.
And as Cody said, it was just a collection until everybody started realizing that this is what we do to help people. They contacted us for advice. They contacted us not knowing who to go to because they were dealing with their own objects that they believed were haunted or cursed or of that in that situation. So, we started receiving boxes and meeting up with people like every week. Now we receive a box of something, I'd say every week, of something that somebody claims is haunted, cursed, or has some sort of possession with it.
Right. Yeah, we have about over 300 objects right now in the museum currently, and it's growing every week. Now, do we think every object has, an attachment or energy? No. I mean, we don't believe that. I mean, there is a psychological effect that we've noticed over the years while doing this, that if somebody believes that they have something haunted or that impression is imprinted on their brain, then everything that starts happening bad in their life, they automatically start blaming the object. When in reality, it's just coincidence over and over again, and this stuff would have happened either way. But there definitely are cases where objects do hold energy, and we're witnessing claims and recording them. The museum has 24-hour surveillance, and we recorded numerous things moving on their own and talking and things like that.
It never ends.
It never ends. It never ends.
Wow,
So, that's pretty interesting. Speaking of interesting, and now is the time. I would tell you, every one of you out there, put your listening ears on, focus. Cody, tell us something about you that people may not know and otherwise that that in your life that it's something that you may have an interest or something you do that people may not know about.
Sure. So probably something that a lot of people don't know about is, besides the paranormal, I do a lot of public address announcing professionally. I was the announcer at Fenway Park for a while, the public address announcer for Major League Baseball games and other big arena events and things like that. I still do it from time to time. I do a lot of commercial stuff now. But Major League Baseball announcing is probably something that a lot of people wouldn't know about.
Wow, see there.
That's awesome.
That is something really cool. You may not know, but there are other things we do outside the paranormal. It's interesting. You just brought up something about those items, and I love the show. I watched the show, of course. I love it's so very cool. Have you started to find that the items that get brought from maybe or shipped from other people, and then they come to you guys? Have you found that they start to maybe get to know you, and they even maybe know your names, or they're like, "Hi, Cody. Hi, Satori." Or they just like, "Hey, I'm part of a cool family now." Have you noticed that?
Yes, 100%. I mean, some of the objects that we know for certain that we have proof, evidence to suggest that they are haunted, it seems that they've interacted with our environment, almost taken this as a family, because we show them respect. We give them the whole spiel, the down low, say, "Hey, you respect us, we respect you, you're welcome here, and we will protect you." And it seems to really create a positive energy, even with objects people don't think are positive. maybe even cursed and things like that. We give them the same spiel every time, and it seems to work for us. And it seems that we've gotten multiple EVPs, even just with our ears. We've said things like, "Good night, thank you for hanging out with us," or "Great to meet you," and we leave the museum and we'll hear things like "Good night" or "Satori, Cody," little things like that. And it just makes us happy to hear that they're comfortable with us.
Yes, and we've also noticed that they like to interact with each other as well.
Oh my goodness!
Whenever a new comes into the museum, it always goes through the same steps. Like Satori was saying, we always kind of put it in what we call like a quarantine period, where we just leave it away from the rest of the stuff in its own little spot, and we just document it for maybe a couple weeks and see if any of the claims that the client was reporting is happening. And then once that 2-week period is up, we move it into the general population of the museum, and we put it in its section. And sometimes we notice that the claims start to elevate depending on where the object is placed in the museum. Right where the computer is set up right now, this used to be our doll section, because dolls are very popular right now. And
whether
I think
they're
that's
haunted or not.
right. I think that's Hollywood's big push for haunted dolls over the years. So we have literally tons of haunted dolls, and they used to all exist on this wall. And probably we have like a top 10 list of objects that have definitely lived up to their claims. And one of them is a doll. And we sit her on this top shelf over here because when we do live streams and stuff, we like to, put her in view of the camera in case something moves.
And we've also tried moving her away from this spot from time to time, and she somehow ends up back. Right. So we're not sure.
So one day, we come downstairs. We had placed her on the shelf for the first time, and all the dolls' heads are turned away from her. Every single doll head is turned away from
180 degrees.
So they definitely, interact with each other. We fixed all the heads, and we're like, okay, that was weird. And then the next time we come down here, the same thing. All the heads are turned again and away from this doll. So they definitely have some, interacting, energy with each other. And we decided to move the doll section away from her because it seemed like they weren't comfortable here. So it definitely sounds crazy when we're talking and telling these stories. It's definitely something you have to experience firsthand. But I assure you that, we're very honest people, and we do this for the love of trying to save objects, because a lot of people, they want to destroy them. When somebody contacts us saying that they have an object that they think has activity or something, the last step is us taking it. We try giving so many steps for them to keep their object, because sometimes this is a family heirloom that's been passed down from generation, and they're scared of this object now. That really meant a lot to their family. So we don't want to take that from them. We like, okay, move it to a location that you're not living in every day. Maybe put it in your basement. You don't go in your basement every day. Put it in your basement. Maybe put it in a closet. If you have a shed on your property, put it in the shed. Get it away from your everyday living space and see if something changes. And usually that works, but sometimes it doesn't. And, the last, I know there are some noises happening around us. The last step is sending it to us, because they feel like they have a safe place where we can hold on to their family object. And if any point in time, they ever wanted their family heirloom back, all they have to do is call us up. But to this day, out of hundreds of objects that we've gotten from people, not one person has called to get their object back.
Wow, that's really interesting.
I like that they're interjecting with their own noises behind you right now. I think you're like, yeah, there's stuff happening back here. Right?
We've gotten so used to it. If something happens around here, we've gotten to the point where we're like, can you please be quiet? Give us a minute. Don't break something. You'll hear us say it on our live stream sometimes. Things will just move, or you'll hear voices, and we're just like, all right, you got to be quiet for a minute.
Oh. Well, I personally would like to know if there's an object that the two of you, maybe whether you were attempting to, check out objects, or whether you were just meandering in a market at some point, but was there an object ever that the two of you were just kind of drawn to?
I'm trying to think of an object that we've gotten that we both kind of felt a connection to.
Well, I mean, there's definitely an object I think Cody has a connection to, in the sense of, like, I don't know what the word is for it. So we have this doll, this larger doll, and she's a Raggedy Ann type doll, but she's definitely handmade. She's older. And we had gotten her from a preschool in Connecticut. Oh, there she is. and her name is Jolene, and she was given to us by a preschool teacher who had noticed that children were interacting with this doll, you know, almost like an imaginary friend. They were talking, hanging out, until they started all becoming hysterical and claiming that Jolene was calling them names, not sharing, just being really mean. And the teacher thought, all right, maybe that's just a little strange. Just ignore it. Puts her on a chair in the preschool where she usually sits and leaves. You know, I believe a couple weeks later, she starts coming back and noticing Jolene isn't in her chair anymore, and she's sitting across the preschool room in the early mornings, playing in a circle of toys, just sitting somewhere random. That's when the teacher starts going, "This is strange. Maybe somebody's playing a prank on me." Little did she forgot that she was the last one to close up that night, and none of the other teachers in the facility believed this either. They were like, "This is absolutely insane. None of us did this." So she went, "Okay, well, if it happens again, we'll deal with it then, but I'm just going to think it's a crazy imagination." Sets her back on the chair, leaves, comes back a couple weeks later, and lo and behold, she is somewhere else and interacting with the environment. So this causes the teacher to become hysterical. She leaves the preschool room and she calls Cody and I immediately, and she doesn't even tell us where it is. She just kind of goes, "All right, look for this doll in that room. Take her and go," because she wasn't interested in the paranormal at all. So we had taken this doll, and she's definitely in the top 5 most haunted, just because we can't keep her in one spot very long. She will somehow move across the room. Her legs will be crossed. She'll be upside down, hanging off the chair that she's in.
Wow.
The most playful spirit that we have in this museum. And it seems Cody has a connection to her.
No, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I definitely, from a technical point of view, like I mentioned, we have security in our museum, and you know, this doll. One day, I'll share one story. What happened? We needed to change a light bulb in our museum here, and I needed to borrow her chair to, you know, get up high enough to change the light bulb. So I took her off her chair and I put her on the floor, and you know, only takes a couple minutes to change a light bulb. I brought the chair across the room, maybe about, I don't know, 25, 30 feet, changed the light bulb, and immediately brought the chair back with Satori here. And we come back, and Jolene is no longer on the floor where we had left her. So we're like, okay, that's weird.
We're like, where'd she go?
So where'd she go? So we start looking around, and she is sitting in one of these swivel chairs on the other side of the room
with her legs crossed.
So immediately I'm like, yes. He had to cross 2 cameras to get from that side of the room, you know, into this room. And I'm like, yes. So immediately I open up my phone, you know, that's linked up to all the cameras, and the cameras do not stop at all. But somehow she's able to move about 30 feet across the room without showing herself in front of
I've never
camera.
Seen Cody so mad in his entire life. He was like banging on the table. He's like, "I can't believe this just happened." And I'm just sitting there laughing. I'm sitting there. I'm like, maybe she teleported. I don't know. What am I supposed to do? She's a 4-foot tall doll. She's a very large doll. I'm like, maybe she teleported. And he's like, "That's not funny." And he's trying to figure it out. I'm like, well, maybe she did. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that proves that, you know, if you know, spirits, if they don't want to show themselves, then they don't want to show themselves, I guess. Because, you know, I tried figuring out everything. There was nothing wrong with the cameras.
Unless she super spy crawled across the wall.
I know, yeah. Unless she stepped up the wall and went over the cameras. Yeah, I don't know. That's just one experience with Jolene of countless. And you know, this is definitely an object that we don't think there's, you know, bad spirit or anything like that. Out of all of the objects we have, I would say 95% of them are just people that have passed on that really love something in life and is just checking up on it once in a while. There are a few objects that, you know, are a little darker for sure. You know, and I think that comes with people's personalities. Not everybody is nice. And, you know, there are some mean people out there, and we definitely have some objects that were connected to mean people. So it would make sense.
Right.
So I got to tell you, speaking of mean people, Flip and his comedy, Satori, are you ever worried about Jolene taking your man?
No, because at the end of the day, I am in this physical plane, and I think I have that little bit of an advantage. But I have to admit, I think he gives Jolene more hugs than me sometimes. So that's something I will put out there. But no, I'm not worried about her taking my man.
Oh.
Well, I'll tell you for that much. You two, when it comes to just, and I felt that energy around you two. It's just like this. I mean, look, what you see with these two right there now are just that happy, laughing, fun, hanging out, just very cool and kind peeps that are out there doing what they do. And just even when you're out there and you go to a show somewhere and there's like little happy Satori, hi Keith, and Cody, hey Keith, what's up? And just you can't help. You just I mean, obviously they could be like, I mean, I'm older, like kids to me, kids to me, but you can't help but just embrace that, those smiles, the kindness. And I really did get to know everyone through Dustin, but he's like a brother to me. So obviously getting to meet Cody when I did up at Ocean State, and then of course Satori, you get those bonds, you get those laughs, you get that fun, and then you just get over time. It's like their birthdays, their adventures, what they do. You really do have that love and friendship. So then that protective nature comes out when you're 6'5" from Texas, as tall as a refrigerator and wide as a cross, and you're 99% nice and 1% let's not go there. Yeah, you do get to be that way, but it's these two. I'll tell you, it's to get to see the fun things they've been doing and how. In all honesty, as I got to follow them and now watch what they did with the museum and what they do, it is definitely, and I would say it is different and a little bit more unique because the items that you guys have are a wayward home of like a homeless shelter for these haunted items that you take on, and you're like, you know what, we'll find a home for them. And I think that when you look at across the paranormal field, and you maybe look into other folks that may have similar type type of these things that they do, it's still, even still, it's not exactly the same. There is that little something that's different and unique. So in all honesty, it does play a big part of validity and credibility to coming in here, and as you tell that story about what you do, for us to document, to have closed circuit TV, to get to go out on the road, to get to share that, and honestly, young and up and coming, to be able to continue to do this, and to be real honest, just be nice about it. How you're so nice about it, and so sure, no problem. I mean, everyone's welcome. Everybody can come. Everybody can get to be a part of this fun thing we do. And I've been around long enough to say you feel that loving energy from people who get put that off as like what you do, and sadly in this world you also feel that from others who may not exhibit that same kind of kindness, and even if something that they do that's similar to what you do, as being more as an abrasive type atmosphere, and that's sad because in reality we all bring something to the table. And we can all say how magic is what they're doing. Hey, what you're doing is great too. Hey, over there, what you're doing, man, that's really cool. So, I look at this and you two getting to explain how you do what you do. There's some of those key things that I've heard that what you're doing is just totally out of love. It's not out of anything else. You're not wanting to have this big Satori and Cody flag that you says put in the ground and say this is our sacred ground and this is only ours. You're showing that, look, it's out of these items that other people said, please help us. Take this. I can't deal with this anymore. And you're taking it in. Well, their right in itself is what the difference is. Is
Right.
that true? Is that pretty much is what you do?
Yeah, absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely. Yes, and we definitely know that we're not the the one and only collectors out there. There's many that have come before us, and many that'll come after us. And thankfully, we've become friends over the years with a good majority of them. And when we started on this endeavor, we were thankful to have so much support from everybody that has reached out to us and given us advice on what to do and everything. So we've really been thankful for that.
And our eyes aren't focused on being the best or trying to be the biggest. We're more focused on giving these objects a home, helping the spirits and the people that need to rid of these objects.
Absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah,
there
thank
you go.
for what you do. That
Thank you. That
Yes.
right there.
that
That was
really
a,
fulfills the mission. That's for sure.
if you didn't hear it, that's the money.
Mhm.
That's the phrase right there. What they're doing is just about they're giving a home to these items all across that you guys are taking in your house and doing that, but then turning right around and kindly and happily showing to others and educating them to say, look, this is what, and that's a difference. That's a difference from what I see at one place than another. But anyway, we have a really cool question from our friend Miss Tracy Jeanette Smith, who's a Love and Light listener, and it's what item is the most active within your place?
Yeah, I would say definitely it's the doll named Liza up there, and she's definitely the most active. Like we said, we have a top 5 for
Top
sure.
5, so she's
and a
one
top
of them.
10.
Jolene is another one. We have one that we have called Death Angel. If we can get into that story, we can also do that. She is definitely in the top 5. Liza, just a quick recap. She was given to us after Cody had done a podcast. A man had called hysterical. Just all that came out of his mouth was "help me." I'm hearing voices in my head telling me to do bad things to myself and other people. Red flag to us because we're instantly worried: is this person suffering from some sort of psychological issue? So after we had calmed him down, he had told us that he had owned a doll named Liza, and she's speaking to him and being really threatening and telling him to do bad things to himself and other people. After talking to him and calming him down a little bit, he wanted to just get rid of it. He didn't want to hear anything about advice. He needed to get rid of it. So we had met him publicly, and he had given us this doll, and he was completely different after he had given us this doll. His life was completely put back together. She's definitely the most active in our collection. She moves around. We have footage of her adjusting herself, talking. She speaks. It's almost like a thick accent that we hear from time to time. We don't think she's a negative entity, like an inhuman spirit. We just think that she's just not a nice person. Death Angel, she was given to us by a family who she's actually a tree topper, a vintage tree topper. She's cardboard. And her claim was that she was responsible for 3 Christmas tree fires, 2 in the same year, 1 the next year. And this family, they said, you're not going to believe us, but we need to tell you this. And they had said, somehow she survives every fire. The husband was an electrician, I believe, right? And he's like, the first time I thought it was a coincidence, maybe wiring. The second time, I can't explain it. Third time, we needed to get rid of this. He didn't like the paranormal either. And we had brought her here, quarantined her. Nothing had happened until we had actually done a interview like this with Matt Warner. And we had said, she hasn't proven her claim yet. We don't know if she has anything attached to her because she hasn't proven her claim as of yet to us. Not even, what would you say, the next day or next couple of days, we come down here to do a live stream. And I think it's saved on our page. She's covered in soot. Somehow, there's no fire. We had checked it. No smoke detectors had gone off. It looks like somebody had lit a fire under her. Her case was covered in soot. She has soot all over her. And then we noticed on our live stream, you'll see our reactions, there is actually a small soot handprint by her case on the wall that we have kept. We have photos. If Keith and you want to see it afterwards, we can totally send it to you. But she is definitely in our top 5 as well because she had proven her claim without, thankfully, burning down the museum.
Right.
Wow.
Just the fact that she survived through 3 Christmas tree fires and perfectly fine being made of cardboard.
We were
underneath
skeptical a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But we love to meet people face to face. I mean, it's one thing to receive a package in the mail and talk to somebody through email, but when you meet the person face to face and hear their story and see their facial expressions, you can definitely tell when somebody's being straightforward with you, and tell when somebody's truly scared of what's going on. And that's a big reason why we push to travel and meet people in person and hear their story and record their story. through audio rather than through email or something.
And this family hadn't gotten her from some crazy curse situation. They had actually, I believe, picked her up at some sort of market or secondhand, antique store type place, and they just felt an attraction to her and they needed to bring her home. That's how it always starts. They feel an attraction to something. And from there, it just kind of went crazy. And I'm thankful that we have her now. And we thanked her. We're like, thank you for not burning down the museum, but showing that you are actually here. And since then, nothing has happened.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. Do you have all your items, do you have any sort of protection for yourself that you do with your items? I know you welcome them as a family and show them respect. And of course, we know intention is everything. Keith and I say that all the time. But you mentioned like one of them having a case. Do you have anything any particular items that you keep enclosed, or do you do any sort of protection for you and your space?
Now, we do have some in cases, but that is more for their protection than ours. It is for, some of these objects are glass, some of them are porcelain. And if they claim to move, we like to put them in a case just in case they want to prove their claim and break. And how would we explain to a spirit that they broke their own object? I have no idea. When it comes
I'm broken! Help me, please!
But from there, I guess a lot of people ask us our religious affiliations and what we like to use to protect our museum. And we say everything because in a way we understand that every religion plays into the same belief. There's a good and evil, a place you go after death. So and there's objects from all around the world, all different religions and cultures. So we like to incorporate everything. I like the more spiritualist and these beliefs with crystals and sage and things like that. Cody, he grew up Catholic.
Yeah, I grew up Catholic, and we found, talking to many collectors, that everybody seems to do what they believe in. I mean, our good friends at the Warren Occult Museum, they bring in a priest, like once a month to bless their museum. When ourselves, what we do, and you hit the nail right on the head when you said intentions are everything. And we have always said, I mean, the museum is not in our living space. We keep it in a totally different floor away from where we live, and we think that's important. Because you definitely need to separate yourself from what you're doing. And this is not meant for everybody. Not everybody is meant to collect this stuff. Your guard has to be high, and you have to feel very confident that nothing is going to hurt you, nothing is going to bother you in any way, and you're protected.
I guess we just have to say what we do is we ground ourselves, make sure that we announce we are putting this wall around ourselves of good energy, of light, and nothing can harm us. And that intention in us, our intention that we put out there, really, it's help. Nothing bad has ever happened to us collecting these objects from that. To make everybody else feel more comfortable, we incorporate sage, crystals, prayer cards, crosses, anything from these big religions to make you feel comfortable, because that is your intention that you are putting out into the world.
Right.
Sure. Wow, that's really interesting. I'm glad to know that. Like I said, as being new friends of mine, I had a million questions for you myself. But we do have another good one from Tracy. She asks, when people leave a home with the items still in it, does the entity move on or stay?
Well, I think it depends on the situation. Like I said, we found that a lot of our objects, the spirit that kind of checks in on it is the person that owned it one time during life, and we've found that a lot of times it's the perfect situation. And it's the same thing with haunted houses. We've found. I mean, just look at the whole Conjuring house. When the Perron family lived there, they experienced some really bad paranormal activity. That might not happen at the same level when a different family moves in. I mean, we're great friends with Corey and Jen that own the home now. There's definitely activity there, but is it at the level that the Perrons experienced? I don't believe so. I believe there's definitely something still there, though. And the same thing with objects. We believe that the living energy plays a huge role on the amount of activity that an object emits into the environment. So I think it depends. I think it depends on the living people that are around and where the object is. If an object is left behind in a home when you move out, it absolutely could have somebody still checking in on it, because it's most likely was owned by that person that's checking in on it. But I truly believe that it will. No matter where the object is, that same person is still going to check in on it, at least for the majority of the time. There is another, classification of objects, that the possession of objects, where a spirit is embodying the object itself. Like if you've ever seen, the Chucky doll movies, that's a good example of somebody doing a ritual and placing, a spirit into an object, not the same terms, but definitely would retain that energy.
That is our classifications. Object attachment. If you love something, let's say I love this an item in this museum so much, and I passed away, I'm going to check in on it, make sure that it's being taken care of. Object possession. They have no other reason to go anywhere else. They've attached themselves to this object and used it as a conduit to interact with our plane, our dimension.
And that's a really good explanation, I think, for those who are wondering what would be the difference, or is there a difference, and of course in all of media there's great examples, whether or not they're completely true, but there's lots of great examples for people to identify both sides of that. So I think that's important, as you share, that there is a little bit of a difference, and how you view the items that you collect is really, really important. And I wonder too, your collection of items, I know you mentioned going on the road. Do you have specific items that you take with you to events, or, do you kind of rotate them, or do you leave them all at home?
Right. So in the main traveling exhibit, there's about 150 items in the exhibition. And, they're all in different sections. We have a section where it's just objects that we've collected on cases and that have been sent to us through virtual cases that we've worked on, and in-person cases. We have an occult section, a true crime section, and we do rotate some of the objects just to make it kind of new and fresh depending on the location we're visiting. But for the most part, the 150 objects are the objects that we feel comfortable traveling with. I mean, some of the objects we have, and we've experienced some of these claims, have claims of reporting vehicle issues and stuff like that. That, when we have brought them to smaller events, so we do a lot of smaller events as well, where we bring about 8 objects. And most of those events are at libraries and smaller venues like that. We have experienced some of those claims where we'll be traveling and, experience some of the claims that have been told to us. So we definitely pick out the objects that we feel would be comfortable, with the public viewing them.
And we are very honest people. 90% of the objects in our museum we've gotten from these situations, from these claims. The other objects that may be coming with us, we admit, have been obtained. We have been given. Strange connections you make out here. People are willing to give you some of the craziest things you can ever imagine, because there is a belief that these objects hold energy from the situations they were involved in. So we have some of those that we will openly bring to also. We do have some objects we may not bring just because their claims are very violent. Like, for example, we have paintings that are claimed if you look at them, you're supposed to die. Like, something horrible is supposed to happen to you. I don't really want to put people through that. It hasn't happened to us yet, as you can see, but I don't really want to put other people through that. Maybe if their guard is down. You know what I mean? So things like that we may leave out.
Right. And, the whole traveling exhibition is probably going to last about 2 to 3 years. And then the museum will get a permanent public location, probably in the New England area, where, you can come and visit when, during open hours. But the traveling exhibition we thought was a great idea to bring the museum to people who really, can't travel to New England. So everything packs into a really large truck, and it's trucked across to different haunted locations around the country. And
we're going to try.
We're going to try our best, that's for sure. And set the museum up inside of these locations, and you can either just tour the exhibits. If you're not really into the paranormal, there's a ton of history that you can read and watch on the television screens and stuff like that. So there's really something for everyone. We have a whole Bigfoot section with prints from around the world that you can view, and pieces of famous haunted locations that are claimed to hold energy, and all different things. Something for everybody, truly, if you're interested in anything under the supernatural title. Which is really, really cool. And so the traveling thing is a temporary thing for a few years, and then permanent location in New England. So it's definitely a unique situation. And at the same time, we kind of want to do this big case study. So if you come and visit, there's different stations throughout the museum where you can write down what you're feeling. And maybe you have a certain emotion around an object. You can write that down. And over time, we hope to see a pattern. Maybe, 90% of the people are feeling happy when they're around an object, or maybe 90% of the people are feeling sad when they're around an object. So it's kind of like getting that black and white data as well over time to see if maybe there is something to these claims that people are stating is going on with an object.
Well, that's wonderful. And it makes it interactive then too. Like you said, not only is there something for everyone with the history and also the paranormal side, but it also lets them share. And those people who are just, from a sensitive point of view, those people who are just kind of opening up to those sensitivities, or those people who have them and just kind of deny, that sort of like reflection per item is really helpful because, then they can go on and read the history of that item, and that may correspond and give them some validation for that. So, and it gives you all data, as you said. So I think that's a really, really neat interactive part of your museum. So I hope to check it out myself. Can you tell us some upcoming events you'll be at or places you're going to go that we can see?
Sure. Well, the first big museum event of the fall is happening the weekend of September 18th in Connecticut. It's actually at a location where we filmed an episode of Ghost Nation at. It's called the Primitive Crow. It's a really neat antique store, a really large antique store that has activity. We've investigated Satori and myself probably about a dozen times now. So the place definitely has activity. You can either come and tour, or we're going to do 3 ghost hunt sessions where the public can come in and investigate with us. We'll give you some equipment to use, show you how to use it, and you can investigate at the location. We also do a lot of virtual events around the country that are sponsored by different libraries, and you don't have to live in the area that the event is happening because it's virtual. If there's room on the sign-up sheet, you can sign up anywhere in the world. And the lecture that we're doing this year is the history of haunted objects. So we go back all the way to the beginning, at least as far as we can tell, back into the Egyptian times, where these objects are first starting to come into play recorded in history, coming up to some of the objects in our museum. And throughout those presentations, we switch out a few of the objects every time, so the presentation is different for everybody that watches. We feature about 8 to 10 objects within each presentation. We also have some smaller in-person events that are coming up. If you go to our website, paranormalcouple.com, click on the events page, everything is listed that's coming up with links to get tickets or just join virtually.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So that's the best way for people to find you all is on Facebook, and you're on Instagram too, I believe.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. TikTok was really good. That we
surprisingly.
Yep.
And your website too, you mentioned. So everyone can follow your events and upcoming things on there. That's awesome. That's wonderful. We do have another question in our chat. It says, it's from our dear friend Talisha. Let me post here. Have you ever not taken an item from someone due to fear? And then she continues, of your own safety.
To answer that, for our own safety, no, because at the end of the day, we are very, I guess you could say, we know what we believe in. We ground ourselves, like I said, and we make sure that we are safe with our intentions. So we're not really worried about our own safety. We have objects that have some of the most violent or terrifying claims that you can imagine. And it's more that we fear for the people that own it, like their safety. So we would rather put it on ourselves to take this object because we are so educated on how to make ourselves feel protected in these situations. So it makes us feel better to take an object off the hands of somebody else.
Right. Yes. And I guess if I had a gut feeling, or Satori had a gut feeling, we both had a gut feeling, we would always follow that gut feeling if we were afraid of something. But we've never come into a situation that was like that. And in the end, we started doing this to help people and help people that are scared, especially. And that's what TAPS was founded on, and we really followed that foundation. And we definitely would always make sure that the client was helped and not walk away from a situation. And thankfully, we have a whole list of contacts that we've been able to evolve over the years, where if we needed some assistance or another person's opinion, then we can call it someone.
And you can't approach this profession. You can't approach this terrified. You can't be afraid of the objects you own, because the objects will start to own you. So we can't look at it terrified. We have to put our foot down. We have to be stern, and we have to be respectful in order to get respect in return.
Absolutely. And that goes back to your intention with the objects too.
Exactly.
And your intention to help people, as you mentioned, and that's your main mission. And Talisha posts a follow-up question. She says, what was your first item that you both got together?
Yeah. Well, I would say our first item in the museum was a painting of Christ that was it's actually hanging up over here. And that belonged to My mom's side of the family, it was my grandfather's. It belonged to my great grandfather and my great grandfather in Italy, and it was brought over to the
Great, I
United
think.
States from Italy years ago. And what happened was, on my great grandfather's deathbed, when he was passing away, he was very scared to die, from what I hear. And he used to pray to this painting every single night before going to sleep. And one night, on his last days, he was praying to the painting and claimed that the painting started talking to him and telling him that everything was going to be okay and you had nothing to worry about. And I guess it really calmed him down, and he was able to pass peacefully. And when my grandfather was getting ready to pass away, he had a very similar claim. He used to pray to this painting every single night, and the same story, that, he started talking to him and telling him that everything was going to be okay, and he was at peace after that. So when he passed away, the painting was given to me, and it's been hanging up over here ever since. I've never seen it move yet.
Thankfully.
Hopefully. Well, if it does, I kind of be happy to see it. But I guess that would be the first object that we've ever collected out of the 300 that we have.
Beautiful
Yes.
painting.
Wow. Oh, and what a special meaning and special story behind it too. Oh, that's so special. Oh, good. Well, I have another question of my own, and it was kind of an inspiration from a family member of mine. But I know you mentioned in your museum and one of the talks that you're going to do coming up that kind of includes some of, information about Bigfoot and cryptids. Do you ever receive items that people have given you that maybe indicate, or their claims indicate, a connection of something otherworldly, extraterrestrial or cryptid, or, fairy realm, anything that they notice that their claims may indicate something like that?
Well, right off the top of my head, we have some stuff from the Heaven's Gate cult that believe that aliens were, a big part in the existence on why we were here. Sure. And so we have some stuff from that whole incident that will be on display at the September event. We do have some stuff that was, claimed to be, from, reported UFO crashes and different cryptozoology sightings and things like that. But like I said, there's definitely something for everyone that is interested in anything strange or unusual, which is why we picked that really long title, because it covers everything.
Much.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So yes, we do have some stuff that has a backstory of otherworldly phenomena.
Nice. Oh, this is so exciting. Keith, we may have to make a road trip.
Yeah,
I've
already been spinning that in my mind. Yeah, and some of their stuff in investigating as well. So I really do, and I've even got some thoughts about doing something with my new FLIR with those items, because I've got my own thought, and I'm going to talk to Cody and Satori about this with these items, and then the fact of how they. Anyway, it's just a thought. I go off into this. I wonder. And has it ever been in research? I'm a big research guy. You'll never know unless you do it and think, wow, look what I found out. So as you can see, this is a room full of equipment, 360 in here of things abroad and bags packed ready to go. So I will tell you, it's getting to be that time of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. So here is the question.
No, wait.
No.
Hold on, Keith. We have to remind people, because they may be different watchers and listeners now. So earlier,
so here I go. I'll show. So earlier in the show,
yes,
but you had to been listening since the start of the show. Okay,
right.
that was the thing, and I've been announced it and put it out and everything else, that Cody would say something about himself that maybe you did not know, and he gave us an answer to that question.
Wait. One more thing.
Oh,
you just started to hold on. If you just started tuning in, you have to use the comment feature in the chat. So in the comments, like the live comments on either YouTube or Facebook, you have to leave your answer that way. So,
All right,
okay,
so
now you can finish, Keith. Okay, go ahead.
all right, so if you know the answer, put it in. Oh, look, we have an answer. Tracy Antoinette Smith answered with, Cody, is that the right answer? That you are a Major League Baseball announcer, public announcer?
That's good. Sounds good to me.
Okay, Tracy, you are the winner. And what is she the winner of? She wins a ticket for you and a guest to the Paraunity Paranormal Paracon this year, there with her dad, Jason Hawes, and many other people. So, is that a cool gift? Yes, it's a cool gift. It is 2 tickets to that event. I will be getting with John about that. I will be getting with him, and you will be on the list when you arrive. They will escort you in, and you'll get your, I guess, lanyard or something else, and you'll be there walking through the event like a rock star. So that is going to be a super cool event. I actually purchased that 2 years ago at the Paracon at actually Gettysburg, and I wanted to, as a gift for me, I said, look, I want to give that out to some folks. So there you go. And it's to you guys. I told you we love you guys. I've been saying it. I've been pushing it. I've been saying, stay with us. I'm telling you, there's some amazing things, amazing guests, amazing things happening. And in the future, us as the show, plus our guest, we're going to be going to locations, and I'm going to be inviting some of you to those events where you get to investigate with all of us, courtesy of me. So it pays to listen to the show. All you got to do is listen. And what are we doing here? I mean, look at these two. I mean, look at them. Come on. Great people. You love them. You're going to get to meet them. I'm telling you. Just know that that's what we do because we love you guys and we mean it from our heart. It's right here. We mean it. And we want you to go out and meet these people because I love being around them, and they're great people at these events. And I want you to go there and just, it's on me. You go there and have a good time. Hey, send us back some pictures. We'll see if we'll get them on the show, and then say that Tracy was our first winner of something amazing. And then she's going to put up some pictures. And then all I would ask is that Tracy puts the word out. Oh my God, I won on Talking Tech Paranormal, and it's really cool. But hey, how can we?
Cody, for giving us our answer for our first big winner question.
Yes, which that is always
that
so cool. What a deal. Folks, did you love them? Let's get a big round of applause and some love for our guests, the two amazing Satori and Cody. I mean, I've been waiting for this show. Everything, and then even more. And what did we do throughout it? The whole theme is about just listen. I'll say this in parting. We're all in this together. We all do what we do. There's plenty of room on the stage for all of us to share a little love and a little light and insight to the others, to educate and bring some insight to where we can get that knowledge, and then we can go out with that and help others. And that's what this show's about. Our guest is well being on this show. So I hope you truly are starting to see that this show is about that 95% of the people in this field that are in the trenches doing the investigations, doing what they do with their museum, doing what they do to go out and all of us work together. But we're the ones out there that spread that love. So if you're down with that, we love you.
And as Cody and Satori said, you can find them on any of their media, their website, Instagram, Facebook. And if people have private questions or questions about items, may they message you there with their questions too?
Of
Absolutely.
course.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Awesome.
They're
Awesome. So
totally approachable.
that's fantastic. So do you both have a moment to wait backstage for us?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you both so much. And we'll talk to you in a minute. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, Keith, that was so fun. I feel
What
like
a
the more
fun
we talk about
show.
it, the more questions I'm going to have. Now I
What
feel
a-
like, I'm going to have more questions. We're going to have them back on another time. I'll just start a list because I have so
Yeah.
many things I want to know.
And like I said, folks, when you see these two that are on there, you get to see that these are yet another avenue of what they bring to. What do you bring to the paranormal? You see what they bring, and they help people with items that they might be terrified of. They take them in, and then they kind of let them have a cool down time, and then they bring them as part of their family. So, folks, that's another way of how they help the paranormal, and how cool is that, right? So. I love having them on the show tonight. I tell you,
Gosh, it was so fun.
what a
It was
blast.
so fun. And now I really truly feel like I have to do some sort of a road trip. I want to see these items. I want to see, talk to them more about them. And, I can tell from talking with them that our intentions with energy are kind of the same as far as,
Right.
addressing spirit. So to me, I'm naturally wanting to gravitate toward them. I was just having this conversation with another psychic medium friend of mine, who we have gotten to be friends, and our styles, and we can share and be very comfortable validating and working together. And so it's really nice when, in this experience and meeting and talking with them, they are so personable, just as I hope we seem to our listeners, because we are, the same people. And I so look forward to going to their events and checking out, their items, and actually talking with them more in person about it. So I was super stoked for tonight's show.
And that's what I say about us. I mean, me and Kelly and everyone else. I mean, t-shirts, blue jeans, boots, tennis shoes. Folks, we're the folks out in the trenches. You don't see red carpets in front of us. You don't see the jackets and I'm this and you're not. And folks, that's not we are absolutely the folks you see, and what you see is here. We go out there, you meet us. So just know that's who we are, and that's what this show's about. And you can call me, you can text me, you can tweet me. I do a lot in the paranormal world as far as mentoring, and also with tech stuff. You see that a little paranormal tech time. So it's all about that. So we love you. We got to do some business with our guests. But I will tell you, so very cool, so very cool. We got other super cool shows in the very near future. We love you so much. Thanks for being here with us tonight. Tracy's our big winner. And
congratulations, babe.
You can be a winner too. Just listen to the show. Thanks a lot.
Right.
See you soon.
Good night, everybody. See you in 2 weeks.